Hello, Ladislas Maurice from thewanderinginvestor.com. So today I'll be discussing why I would not invest in real estate in Cancun. This is not meant to be a hit piece on Cancun. I like it here. Right after this video, I'm gonna go for a swim, and I've been spending a few months or not too far from here in Playa del Carmen, but I do not believe that it's the right place to invest in real estate. One, because the original model of Cancun is a model of the past. So people would fly into Cancun International Airport, they would take a shuttle to their all-inclusive resort, and they would never leave their resort unless the hotel organized an excursion for a day, or if they decided to go get drunk in one of the party areas, in the main party area near all the hotels. Apart from that, people would never leave. So it doesn't make for a very friendly destination if you don't actually stay in one of these resorts. If you rent an Airbnb, you're a bit far away from all of the action because all of the resorts and all the action is in the hotel zone. And it's very important to know as real estate investors that one of the key trends in Latin America, if you want to focus on high earning Americans, Canadians, and Europeans, is the fact that millions of people are starting to realize that they can actually work from anywhere and they do not have to stay in the United States or in Canada. In many cases for Canadians, if they do it right, they can move abroad and pay 0% taxes. For Americans, it's a lot more complicated, but they can still have some interesting tax benefits. But generally, people want to move south where the weather is better, where life is cheaper, and where the whole environment is not as toxic as it is in North America from a political point of view. So we're really seeing people of all political stripes moving to Latin America. And the same goes for Europeans. So many Europeans are fleeing Europe because of the whole situation there. Tens of thousands of Ukrainians and of Russians have moved to Mexico, for example, many of them here in the Riviera Maya area. And a lot of Europeans, Western Europeans, are increasingly moving to Latin America because of energy issues, inflation, etc. One of the easiest ways to beat inflation actually is to move to a country with a lower cost of living. So these people, they're not moving here for just 1 week to stay in an all-inclusive resort. They want to live here for at least a few months of the year. And a place like Cancun is absolutely not attractive because it hasn't been built this way. It's not built for people to come and enjoy the place for a few weeks or a few months at a time. And why is this? Mostly about walkability. There is close to zero walkability in Cancun. To get from anywhere to anywhere, you have to either rent a car, take a taxi, or take public transport, but public transport is really bad here. So if you rent an Airbnb somewhere in Cancun in the center, not in the hotel zone, to get to the beach, you'll invariably have to take a cab, and if you rent a car, you're gonna have a hard time parking. I'm making this video right now, it's approximately 8:30 in the morning because I dropped someone off at the airport right before, so I found some parking. But if you're coming here between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., you'll have a hard time finding any parking near the nice beaches. And from a cycling point of view, the distances are quite big as well, so it's really not friendly from a cycling point of view either. So when you look at a heat map of Cancun from an investment point of view, there are a few areas. And the layout of the city is actually not nice at all from an investment point of view. So you have the hotel zone, which is essentially the core of Cancun tourism, where you have all of the hotels and the nice beaches. So this whole area is nice, but there aren't really apartments to buy. It's mostly hotels. Then there's the whole party area, which is nice, but again, it's far from everywhere. You always need to take a cab to get there if you're going to be staying somewhere else. Then you've got the Centro of Cancun, which is walkable in some respects. It's actually pretty walkable. There are a few restaurants, a few bars, but it's a bit shabby. It's not very nice. And again, you're far from the beaches. You're far from all the cool bars and nightclubs and restaurants that are here in the hotel zone and the party area. So I don't see the point of moving to Mexico to stay in a shabby downtown far away from the beaches. They're much better alternatives. So it just doesn't quite make sense. If people are backpacking through, they'll stay there, fine. They'll stay there for a few days and then move on to somewhere nicer. But if you're going to come to live in Mexico for a few months, I just do not understand why you would ever choose to live in the Centro if what you're looking for is walkability. If you're looking for something a little nicer and where you can get things done without always taking a cab, you can look at the area around Plaza Las Americas. It's essentially a kind of a newish area from the 90s, 2000s. Got banks, restaurants, shops, all of that. Still, to go to the beach, you'll need to take a cab. But the issue is that whole area centers around a big mall. So if you're not into the mall life, you're not going to enjoy this place. And the mall is not particularly nice either. It's getting a bit dated, a bit old. So again, not too attractive. Then you have a few areas near the airport with high-end gated developments. They're nice developments. From a lifestyle point of view, nothing wrong with them. You know, if you live in one of those, you'll have to rent a car or buy a car, and it's fine. You can then drive to the beach if you're into that. And there are other beaches, not just here in the center of Cancun in the hotel zone. But from an investment point of view, you're not going to make your money. You're not going to make any decent money on Airbnb because it's just too far. And for long-term rentals, your HOA fees, homeowners association fees, are just going to be too high. And typically real estate in these gated developments tends to depreciate relatively fast over time, because the development you buy into may be cool for a few years, but then they're building new developments that are always newer, bigger, better, and then people with money move on to the next one, and then the value of your property tends to stagnate or plummet over time. So lifestyle, yes. Investment, no. But then people will tell me, but Ladislas, there's this really nice area called Puerto Cancun, which is close to the beaches, which is extremely high-end, beautiful buildings, brand new wall. It's fairly walkable. I completely agree with you. It's the nicest place to live in Cancun. They're building it up. If I had to stay in Cancun, that's where I would live. But the issue is, it's actually quite expensive. You're looking at between $5,000 to $10,000 per square meter, which is roughly $450 to $900 per square foot, which is quite expensive for Cancun, especially when I compare it with prime real estate in places like Playa del Carmen and Tulum. I don't think that you're going to get a good ROI if you buy in Puerto Cancun. Why? When I actually look at the dynamics of who is buying in Puerto Cancun, it's mostly Mexicans, approximately 95%. So on the one hand, that's very healthy, the fact that the local market is embracing this development, but there's also a bit of a snob effect. Wealthy people from Mexico City and from Monterrey like to buy apartments there to be able to claim that they own real estate in Puerto Cancun. It's mostly lifestyle real estate. The apartments stay empty most of the year, and people just fly in a few weekends of the year, go straight from Cancun airport to their nice apartment in Puerto Cancun, stay a few days, and then fly back. But at this price, it'll be hard to make any decent money on Airbnb and long-term rentals as well, and the HOA fees are quite high. So when I look at these developments, they're very nice from a lifestyle point of view, but from a capital gains point of view, I doubt that you'll make any capital gains. The feeling I get is that the developer is the one making the capital gains on these apartments, not the investors, because of the snob effect. They're not actually investors, they're lifestyle buyers. And I'm personally not a lifestyle buyer. I'm into investing, so I would stay away from this development. Another reason why I would not invest in real estate here in Cancun is because most of the development in the Riviera Maya is happening away from Cancun. So in many respects, it's good that the government is spending a lot of money and is investing in tourism here in the whole Yucatan and Quintana Roo area, the whole Riviera Maya. But the original thesis for Cancun was that it was the center of everything. And now the government is working on massive projects. The Maya Tren, so it's the Maya train, which is a massive infrastructure project that the current government is developing as we speak. It's happening. I saw it with my own eyes. They are building the train tracks, and essentially this whole train network will link Cancun to the whole Yucatan Peninsula, as well as Quintana Roo, so the beach towns like Playa del Carmen and Tulum. So again, the original thesis for Cancun was that it was the center, but now the reality is you could fly into Cancun airport and you'll easily be able to take a fast train that'll take you to all of the tourism hotspots here in this whole region. So in many ways, this will take tourism away from Cancun rather than bring tourism to Cancun. So again, all this infrastructure development is extremely positive for the region, but overall what it does mostly is it makes the other parts of the region more attractive from a tourism point of view compared to Cancun. So overall, I expect Cancun to lose some of its aura over time due to this old architecture, this poor layout, the lack of walkability, and the fact that it's not bicycle friendly either. And then with all of this infrastructure development pushing people into other areas of the region, the raison d'etre of Cancun will diminish over time. And then lastly, why I would not invest in Cancun is because, again, there are better alternatives. So I see Playa del Carmen, which is developing really fast and which is very walkable, and that has great real estate right in the center, is more attractive, especially when down the line in a few years, it'll be connected by train to both Tulum and to Cancun airport. And then places like Tulum as well, which are undergoing a massive real estate and tourism boom. So the growth stories are not in Cancun, they are in Playa del Carmen, and they are in Tulum. Those are the two main ones that I see for now. If you're interested in finding out more about these two real estate markets, have a look below in the description. There are two articles, one article on Playa del Carmen, one article on Tulum, in which I do a full analysis of the real estate markets in the two cities. And again, because I know I'm going to be receiving some hate messages from people whenever I do these negative pieces on a city. Last time I did one on the Canary Islands, people were absolutely furious. I do not dislike Cancun. I'm going to go for a very nice swim. The beaches are amazing. I just would not put my money here. You can go to my website, thewanderinginvestor.com, and sign up to the private list. It's entirely free. This way you will be getting insider information as I travel around the world looking for opportunities. Lastly, feel free to follow me on Instagram at The Wandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.